Hey guys, welcome back to class. Today we're going to, what are we going to do? It's a mess. Let's see, what are we going to do today? There it is. We are on day 5. I will learn how to graph linear equations using slope-intercept form, and, well, goes with video lesson unit 8, day 5, which is what you're watching right now. So let's figure out what the slope-intercept form of a line is. Okay? Here we go. Hey guys, tonight as a special guest I have my husband here with me. Wave hello to everybody, Paul.
Hello.
Wave hello, come on.
Hello.
So my husband Paul here is an engineer too, and so he knows lots about lines. He took lots and lots of math too, and he knows lots about lines. Can you tell us what this line is right here?
It's a linear line.
It's a linear line? Does this line have any kind of special name, this form of a line?
I don't know. But I really don't.
You really don't remember? Okay.
It has been years.
It's been years? Okay. Alright. Well, then you've come to the right place, haven't you? Alright.
Is this what you're trying to do, just embarrass me in front of kids?
Just a little bit. So, this is an equation for a line, right? You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Alright. And this type of equation has a special name. It's called the slope-intercept form of a line. Okay, so here's the slope-intercept form of a line. Do you remember what the M stands for?
Rise or run.
Which is called?
A slope.
The slope. So the M here is actually the slope of the line. Do you remember what the B part is?
Y-intercept.
It's the y-intercept. Do you remember what that means, y-intercept?
It's where the line crosses over the y-axis.
It's exactly what that is. So if I sketch out, I just sketch, and you guys can just sketch this time. I'm not going to make a fancy graph like a lot of other times. So if we just sketch one out here, and maybe zoom in a little bit. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and if we have a line like this, B is the y-intercept, and that's where it crosses right there on the y-axis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So using the slope-intercept form of line is really just that easy. All you have to do is look at the number or the coefficient in front of the x, and that's going to be your slope. And then the last number over here, whatever is plus or minus, this number is going to be your y-intercept. It's really just that easy. So let's just take a look at an example, okay? Here's one of these little graphs that I gave you guys on Friday, so you could cut them out, put them in your notebook to make life a little bit easier for you. So all I did was take this graph and I put 2 points on it. Excuse me. I have the point, let's see, 0, 2. So this point is 0, 2. And I have the point 1, 2, 3, 0. 0, 2, and 3, 0. So, if I want to put this equation, if I want to put this line in the slope-intercept form, what's the first thing I want to do, Paul?
Solve for x.
Okay.
0, then b equals y.
Well, so I don't really have an equation to work with right now. What I want to do is just use the points and the slope that I can find from the points as a starting point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So,
B is already.
well, how do I know what B is?
It's 2.
Why is B 2?
Because it's where it crosses the y-intercept.
So we know
It's just that easy.
B is 2 because B is the y-intercept. So we look at on the y-axis and see where it crosses,
Mm-hmm.
and it crosses at 2. So B equals 2. Now, so then we've got the B part of the line, and x and y we really just put in after we figure out the slope and the y-intercept. So now we need to figure out the slope, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to figure out the slope, guys, we're going to use that handy little method that we used earlier. Excuse me. We use that handy little method that we used earlier where we take the 2 points, 0, 2, and the point 3, 0, and we subtract to find the difference. So the change in y is 2 minus 0, and the change in x is 0 minus 3. So our slope should be 2 over negative 3, or a negative 2/3. So then this is what we do. We go up here and we see the y-intercept where we started, 0, 2, and now we try our slope out and see if it actually works. So I'm going to go down 2, because it's a negative 2, I'm going to go down 2 in the y direction, and because I'm using a positive 3, I'm going to go in 3 steps in the positive x direction, and I end up right back on the line. So then I take this information that I just got, my slope is negative 2/3, and my y-intercept is 2, so now I can write the equation for my line. Y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2.
I got a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Why isn't it, why don't you go up 2 and then across 3?
What do you mean by across?
Well, if you even have the different signs, but you're using a negative 3 on the bottom, but you put it up here on negative 2 on top.
Actually, I sort of put it out in front, but it kind of looks like in front. But okay, so you want to...
So if you go up 2, 1, 2, and then negative 3, 1, 2, 3, it still puts you on the linear line.
It still does put me in the linear line.
So the minus sign, no matter where you are, still develops the same slope.
Yeah, so like I told the kids in
whether it's
class,
top or bottom.
I told the kids in class they can either use the slope on the top, the negative on the top, or the negative on the bottom. You can't do it both. Right? Alright, so just to summarize real quickly here, and I'm going to write this equation that we came up with a little bit neater. Okay. We start out with the 2 red points, 0, 2, and 3, 0. And I took a blue marker and connected them with a blue line, with the goal in mind being to come up with a slope-intercept form of the equation of the blue line. So the first thing we did was find the y-intercept at 0, 2, and you agreed with me? We did that right? Okay. And then we made sure to note that b equals 2. B is the y-intercept, so we wrote b equals 2. And then we calculated the slope using the method we have in class. And then we took those two, the slope and the y-intercept, and we put them in the form of the slope-intercept equation of a line. This is the slope. This is the y-intercept. Good enough? Okay. So we're going to do one more example. On the first example, we started with, actually over here, we started with a line, and then we ended up developing the equation. This time we're going to start with the equation and make the graph. Sound good? Alright, so the slope of this line would be what?
2.
2. Why?
Over 1.
How do you know it's 2?
Because m is 2.
Because the coefficient to the x is always the slope, right? Okay. And if we haven't said it before, or if I haven't said it before, from now on we'll define slope as being m. It's always lowercase m. So the slope is 2. And the y-intercept is 3. Because?
That is where it crosses the y-axis.
Okay. So first thing we're going to do is take this y-intercept. That's when you're given an equation of a line, the first thing you're going to do is find the y-intercept and go ahead and plot it. Since we know it's the y-intercept. What?
Why would you mark 2 when it's a 3?
Oh, because I made a mistake, dear. That's why he's here, guys. Okay. Let's pretend this point's not there. Y-intercept is 3. Okay, now our slope is 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you made reference a few minutes ago that it was really 2 over 1. Slope is really a ratio,
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes we don't show the 1 because, well, you don't typically show the 1 in the numerator.
Actually, just put rise over run. Have you explained that to them?
Yeah, they know rise over run, don't you guys? Of course you do. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so change in y, is it positive or negative, Paul?
Positive.
So we're going to go positive 2, which is up 2 steps here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the change in the x direction is also positive, so after we take our 2 steps up, we're going to go positive 1 step over
Mm-hmm.
and make another point right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take a pencil here because I think the marker is going to get too fuzzy. And mark the line right there. So here's my question. So, I know we've talked about this being positive, and is it true to say that this is really equal to this?
Mm-hmm.
It is true. So, just to test this out, I'm going to actually zoom in a second here. Instead of going up 2 and over 1, now I'm going to go down 2 steps and negative 1 step in the x direction, and I find that I cross the line again. So that works out, right?
Yep.
All right. So the slope is 2 because it's the coefficient to the x. The y-intercept is 3 because it crosses the y-axis, and because that's whatever is added on the slope-intercept form of a line. And that's it for tonight. See you tomorrow.